Just a few weeks ago, rounds 1 and 2 at Brands Hatch got the ball rolling for what is surely going to be this year a stunning British Championship.
Steve Hislop sent a very clear message to everyone at Brands with a pole position 0.3 of a second quicker than anyone else. But it was Chris Walker who got the drop when the lights turned green. A ferocious three-way scrap then followed, which had the 25,000-strong crowd on its feet. The number 2 Suzuki rider Walker led the race until the closing stages when John Reynolds played his trump card and put his number 3 Ducati in front. Coming onto the straight for the last time, Reynolds had Hislop and Walker breathing down his neck, but he held on for the win. Round 2 got underway with Walker again being thwarted by a Revy Racing Ducati, but this time it was John Reynolds' teammate James Hayden riding number 5. Hayden stretched the gap, and his lead at the end was a convincing one. This was a repeat of last year's Brands victory for Hayden. So after 2 rounds, John Reynolds leads the standings by just 2 points from Steve Hislop, with Hayden in third. 3-time champion Neil Mackenzie had a mixed day, falling in round 2. Susie Perry caught up with John Reynolds prior to events at Donington.
John, a brilliant weekend for you at Brands Hatch, a great win for you and the team.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to win a race, Piers James also won a race there and got the lap record at the same time. It's awesome, but we do know and well aware that we need to win races continually, be competitive all the way through the year. It's a long, long season, and you know, that's just the first meeting. So it's great to win races, but we've got a long way to go yet.
So Brands Hatch has set the scene nicely for our year ahead. But here at Donington Park on the first day, we've seen our own fast and furious qualifying. Let's take a look.
Third place on the grid for the GSE Ducati of Neil Hodgson, one of the only 2 riders to improve his time in yesterday afternoon's session and looking very focused for this season's championship. John Reynolds, also on Ducati's second on the grid, and feeling very confident following his Brands Hatch victory. John has worked hard during qualifying on his machine setup for the race and is a master tactician. Pole position man Steve Hislop, riding for Yamaha, shaved 0.2 of a second off the World Championship lap record for Superbikes with an incredible lap of 1 minute 33.25 seconds. It would be fair to say that Steve has dominated qualifying.
Steve, Brands Hatch pole position man, Donington pole position man, what's going on here?
Well, I'd like to keep it up all year if I could, but no, it's tremendous, you know, to be pole the first event was great start for the team, but we've backed it up here at a circuit that I really prefer anyway, so yeah, it's good.
So how was qualifying for you? How did it feel out there?
Well, this morning was good, everything, you know, lunchtime I was really happy because it had a good setup, the bike was working good, and I was 0.2 quicker than anybody. This afternoon the temperature's gone up a little bit, and it's throwing the settings on the bike a little bit, but by what I hear from the team, everybody's been in the same boat, you know, and I'm still 2 or 3 quicker than anybody, so pretty happy. It's more referred to the race time about now, so I think we've got a couple of things to try tonight, a couple of ideas, but I think we've got a good setup.
Steve, good luck for the race, thanks.
Thanks very much.
That indeed was a blistering pole position for Steve Hislop. That's not so far short of what the Grand Prix bikes were doing here just 2 or 3 years ago. Hayden Mackenzie, Plater and Crawford on the second row, Goddard on the other Kawasaki heads row 3, and the 2 Yamaha teammates Rutter and Paul Young on row 4.
Race day here at Donington Park, and as promised, the sunshine is just beginning to peep through. Coming onto the second row of the grid, 3 times champion Neil Mackenzie, always going well here, of course, at Donington. Let's just have a quick word with James Hayden, winner from Brands Hatch. 19 laps with the full circuit, raring to go.
Yeah, can't wait. You know, the bike's working really well, the team's working well, so just looking forward to a good race.
Thanks, James. Good luck. Let's move now onto the front row. Now, don't forget that this man, pole sitter from Brands Hatch, pole sitter at Donington Park, Steve Hislop, he qualified here faster than the 1999 World Superbike guys. He's going to be hoping that this track temperature is warm enough for these babies to work at their optimum performance. Steve Hislop on pole. John Reynolds, championship leader there, in second place on the grid. Third place, Neil Hodgson. Take a look at Neil, take a look at that body language. Oh, a little wink there, he's looking rather relaxed. And Chris Walker, the stalker, in fourth place on the grid, having a quick chat, looking relaxed. The stalker, but I know that his mechanics call him Housewife's favourite. So there you go. qualifying optimum as ever, but this is a race moments away from race 1. This is what counts. Let's go to the commentary team, Roger and Barry.
35 riders, 47.5 miles, 19 laps of this Donington Grand Prix International Circuit, and the number 8 Yamaha, Steve Hislop on pole position there. Alongside him, Reynolds. Then it's Neil Hodgson, number 4, and Chris Walker completing the front row on the Suzuki. And it is indeed Chris Walker, the number 2 Suzuki rider, who gets the drop. We're looking backwards now from Steve Hislop. The number 6 there, Sean Emmett. There's Neil Hodgson, number 4, on the INS Ducati. Reynolds also and Hayden got great starts, but Chris Walker, the stalker as they call him, leads. Away they go down towards the old hairpin, into the right-hander. Right on his tail, though, is Steve Hislop, who was so unbelievably quick round here in practice. Hislop has really set the MB4U.com British Superbike Championship for the year 2000 alight, and he's doing it again. Through on the inside of Chris Walker goes Steve Hislop. He is tucked in. I've never seen Hislop looking fitter and more focused, and that incredibly sharp haircut makes him look pretty mean.
On board now with Steve Hislop looking backwards, and you see Chris Walker coming into view. That's because Hislop is ahead. Now Hislop needs to be ahead of the gaggle behind him. Hislop likes to ride, he likes to lead from the front. He's at his best when he doesn't have to brush shoulders with anybody. So this is an ideal position for Steve Hislop at the start of this race.
Hislop, now 37 years of age, the TT veteran Hislop, but he's having something of a renaissance now and going really well at the Melbourne Loop. But Walker's still in second place. Number 3 on the Ducati, John Reynolds, championship leader so far in the very early stages. And let me tell you, after this whole series is over, they will have raced 850 miles of very hectic pace, and there will emerge a champion. Reynolds wants to be champion. He won it in 1992. He would love to do it again. On the right there, number 5, James Hayden, going inside and making a super passing move on Neil Hodgson. Neil Hodgson, another one of the front row men, but it's Hayden moving through. Ducati versus Ducati. Away they go down towards the Melbourne Loop. Hodgson on the right-hand side of your picture. Hayden scythes across the front. Is he going to go wide? Can Neil Hodgson get the drive out of there, Roger?
Well, it's Steve Hislop at the front, but Hodgson has a chance to come back at Goddard's. Hodgson thinks better of it. Still reasonably early stages, but James Hayden on bike number 5 was one of the winners from the previous event at Brands Hatch. Now back at the front, and it's Steve Hislop on bike number 8, from Walker getting it sideways there into Fogarty's on bike number 2, and in close proximity now is JR, John Reynolds on bike number 3, closely followed by Hodgson on number 4.
The number 3 Ducati rider, look at the rear end of Chris Walker, backing the bike in. He went a little bit wide there because he was going down the gearbox, too much rear brake. The rear end broke traction, but that's the way Chris prefers to ride. New race leader, John Reynolds, number 3. Both local men, both Reynolds and Walker, live just up the road in Nottingham. Family man Reynolds knows his way around here like his own back garden. He is going well now, Reynolds, but look again at Hodgson on the inside. Up to third goes Neil Hodgson on the orange Ducati. Yes, he's got the better of Steve Hislop, and slotting in now behind Chris Walker as they head off down Craner Curves.
On board now with Steve Hislop looking backwards. Now Hislop must have made some sort of mistake here. You can see Walker coming alongside him. Now you can see the acceleration of John Reynolds, and John Reynolds on bike 3 goes past. Now this is looking backwards again from Hislop, and Hodgson up the inside, so that made Hodgson up into third place, and you can see now from the pictures that Reynolds is slightly stretching an advantage.
Don't let the sunshine deceive you. It is bitterly cold here at Donington Park, and those tyres will be taking some time to warm up. It's a long, long way to go into Coppice, over the top of the hill, coming out, and Neil Hodgson has already set another fastest lap of 1:34.4. Hodgson is on the charge under the Dunlop Bridge, looking for second place now, the number 4 Ducati of Neil Hodgson. Race leader though, 3, it's Reynolds. In second place, number 2, Chris Walker. A yellow flag is out. There's a rider somewhere with a problem. The yellow flag is out. That means ride with caution, and you must not overtake under a yellow flag. Again, that rear wheel action from Chris Walker. Down into the Melbourne hairpin, the Suzuki sliding all over the track with the rear end. But why was the flag? That's why the flag was out. Hislop, number 8, Steve Hislop, has parked the Yamaha. He's shaking his head. We're puzzled. He clearly is puzzled. Roger, something mechanical?
must be something mechanical. There was no crash damage there to the bike and none to Steve Hislop either. But look at Hodgson. Hodgson's the man on the move. Not only has he set the fastest lap of the race so far, he's not settled for third at all. He's past Walker now. The back ends of those bikes squirming as they go right-handed through Craner curves. 120 miles an hour through there before going left-handed. Up with the engine revs at 130 miles an hour back 2 gears for the old hairpin. 90 miles an hour through there. Hodgson now has to work really hard to catch John Reynolds.
Well, these established riders, the riders who rode so fiercely in the 1999 championship, are proving to be once again a force to be reckoned with. There's a newcomer, number 22, Steve Plater, formerly a 600cc rider last year, runner-up in the 600 championship, is now racing with 3 times former champion Neil Mackenzie, Hodgson's teammate. Mackenzie carrying the number 7 on his Ducati, and still, I think it's fair to say, settling in with the machine, getting used to riding a big V-twin, because he doesn't have the wide range of experience on Ducatis that the race leader Reynolds has, or indeed the man behind him, Hodgson.
The number on the bike, of course, signifying the position in the championship from the previous year. So John Reynolds there on bike number 3 is third in the last year's championship. Hodgson, of course, 4th, and so on. But it's JR out in front now. Hodgson looks to me like he's closing slightly.
Number 23, Carl Rennie, the tail ender there on the yellow-fed machine, moving out of the way. There is a blue flag system in operation here. That means when the blue flags are waved, the leading riders are given a clear track. In other words, the tail enders know the fast men are coming through, so they hopefully move over. In Carl Rennie's case, he certainly did, because the man on the move now is John Reynolds, number 3, and a big twitch from the Ducati made JR sit up. Back with Plater and Mackenzie, battling for 5th and 6th. Plater, the number 22, Kawasaki, currently in 5th. Mackenzie coming down towards Redgate. This is Mackenzie's favourite passing place into Redgate. He takes a very tight line into there, gets on the power, and he's going to hold it all the way down through Craner curves. Mackenzie then up into 5th place. His teammate, number 4, Neil Hodgson, is well ahead of him, but Mackenzie now having a good ride, and the more and more track miles he gets under his belt on the Ducati, the more settled Neil Mackenzie will become on the machine.
Mackenzie actually achieved his personal best lap ever around Donington Park in qualifying with a 1:34 lap, but now back to the front, and Walker looks like he's been tailed off slightly. That's the man we're looking at now on the Suzuki, bike number 2, the crowd's favourite, and he looks like he's in 3rd place. Now there's a tail ender between him and Neil Hodgson. There's Hodgson just come through the picture. Can Walker catch Hodgson?
Number 2, Chris Walker, is indeed the crowd's favourite. He has finished 3 times in this championship, but he will not finish this race. There is a lot of smoke. You can see it yourself. Walker has blown the Suzuki, and with it, he has blown any chance of lifting points in round 3 here at Donington Park, because that bike is going nowhere. And he better get off the racing line, because almost certainly it'll be throwing oil. Well done, Chris. Park it on the grass. Far too experienced to continue on the racing line, Chris Walker. He knows that that'll be throwing oil out, and it is potentially a hazard. Well, that's really thrown the championship wide open. And take a look, Roger, what do you think?
Well, he's going down the gearbox here, and Chris has been working the bike really hard. We've seen it sideways, backing it into the corners. The oil flag's there being shown. Now, Chris, if he's toured round and got back into the pits to complete the lap, and the red flag goes out, he will finish in that position. So maybe that's what he's tried to do. No red flags at the moment, just oil flags. Back with the leaders.
Now, I wonder, is the message going to John Reynolds from his pit crew that Chris Walker is out of the running? But the man very much, though, a threat at the moment is fellow Ducati rider Neil Hodgson, number 4, who hasn't slipped back at all. Something like half a dozen bike lengths now between Hodgson and race leader Reynolds. Number 77, Brent Sampson, one of the tail enders about to be lapped. But Brent Sampson, the man from Plymouth, a very able privateer performer, and he goes well in this series.
Of course, the privateers within this race are signified by a yellow front number plate, so you can see that we've got 2 yellow front number plates there. Hodgson just about to exit the Melbourne Loop and chase after this man John Reynolds, so the yellow number plate signifies a privateer.
Into Goddard's, hard on the front brake going in, down 3 gears on the Ducati. He'll boom out towards the line, a huge wheelie. The checkered flag is out, and after 19 laps of Donington Park, round 3 goes to number 3, John Reynolds. And John has every reason to be delighted, because that is the team's third and his second win of the new season. And there's the confirmation. Top 4 places taken by Ducati, Hodgson, Hayden and Mackenzie filling the other 3 slots. Top privateer John Crockford on the Suzuki.
Oh, John Reynolds, certainly stamping your authority on this championship this weekend.
Well, working hard at it, yeah. I mean, we need to win races, of course, but, you know, we need to finish it well. And that's great. Hard work, but good fun.
Well, John Reynolds clearly having some good fun there. Good to see him getting the results as well. And there's something of a party atmosphere here at Donington Park in the sunshine. Good crowd, certainly a good atmosphere, and very good racing.